Welcome to Jollof and Fiction, home of African literature and stories, the kind that warm your heart like a fresh pot of jollof. Today, you're tuning into a recorded session of our online book discussion, so sit back, relax, and join the conversation.
Back to wherever you're coming from. And the funniest part was the marriage or sex between races being illegal, the Immorality Act. I don't know, but I found this very, very funny. So anyway, there were a lot of things that happened during this period. There were brutal crackdowns on protests, military invasions, and a lot of crazy things. And it was in a chaotic time like this that Trevor Noah was born. So I hope that just gave us a little bit of insight as we go on into analyzing this book. So yes, my first question, before I even go into questions, I don't know. I want to give an open ground for the first two people to raise their hands up to just basically give their general view on the book. Yes, Ada and Olivia. Okay, let me see. Olivia, you're first.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity to hear my views.
You're welcome.
So, this book, my general outlook, first of all, I think it was funny. It started with humor. I laughed a lot in the beginning until at some point, I think there were things that were not worth laughing about anymore, but they were really serious issues. And I felt so triggered. I felt so angry. I paused a lot of times to ask myself, who gave these people the right? There was this part in the book where they were talking about Trevor's father, his biological father, not believing in apartheid and saying that how can you come all the way to Africa to hate Africans? Why not just stay in your country and hate them? So I was like, yeah, why exactly do you care? So reading just that, I'm like, I don't even understand. I was trying to imagine if this was going to happen in Nigeria or anything, and stuff like that. I was just trying to picture being in a place where you are in your own land, but you have a master over your own land, over your own property. You are slaves to someone else who is not even in any way supposed to be near your land. You walk till your own grounds. You have your own minerals from the land goes to them, and they still hate you, and you still cannot access some parts of your own land and your own country. So it was really triggering for me, but aside that, it was a very interesting read. And for the first time, I felt happy knowing that I was actually reading a true story. I mean, these things happen. This is not fiction. You know that moment where you read so many things in a book that make you so mad, and you just end it with, oh, okay, it's just fiction. It never happened. But this time around, somehow I felt happy that this is actually something that happened. It's not just my imagination playing tricks on me and all. So yeah, the book was really, and especially the abuse part. That part too. And that part was just, I don't know if you've gotten it, but that part was just so annoying. So, but the book is great. Trevor is a very excellent writer, very humorous, but the contents of the book honestly made me mad in so many ways. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Olivia. So Ada, you're going to get next, but I think that I want to be time conscious. If you're speaking and after a while you see me react with a heart emoji, it indicates that you should round up, because we're working with time. Just look out for my heart emojis. Thank you very much. So Ada, you can go. Is she here? Adobe.
I'm not done with the book yet because of Aisha. I've been busy this week. But the thing is, to think that this of rubbish that was like this kind of segregation between the whites and the blacks, and other races are still very like they're like it's still a thing in South Africa as of today, and they even get insults about it. I'm like, wow, like can't they just come together and like purge these people out of their land? Is it not possible? Can they not just come and be like, oh, you know what, we're taking people out of our land? Anyway, I'm still reading the book, and as time goes on, I think I'm still going to discover more things to get. Thank you.
Okay, more quotes. I would open the floor for you. Ada, please lower your hand. Thank you.
Hi guys, good evening.
Hi.
So I just want that Trevor Noah did a very good job bringing this book like to writing this book generally, because it got like a lot of public backlash when it was first released, but I genuinely feel like human beings have the need to be very oppressive, and he really like showed it in this book. Like it's not now something I excuse me, the pattern I noticed was that most of the apartheid actually stopped coming from white people and started coming from like people within their society too. So it was like really interesting to see the dynamics of these things and understand that it also like beyond Nigerians and how they behave towards like themselves and their ethnicity. We could also see it in like other parts of like Africa too, and how weird it is actually. So I think that the book did a really good job showing that. So yeah.
Thank you very much, more quotes. Okay. Down to business. So while reading this book, apart from the way we saw color create a segregation, there was also another thing that turned out to be stronger than color. So if we go to page 52, there is the part where Trevor is walking on the road, and there's this couple of boys behind him. I just want to read a phrase, and then I think there are this couple of guys behind him, and here that they're about to get physical with him or take something that belongs to him, and then he speaks to them in their language. Why? Because he had learned while growing to pick up different languages. And then what he said that struck me was this: they were ready to do me violent harm until they felt we were part of the same tribe, and then we were cool. That and so many other smaller incidents in my life made me realize that language, even more than color, defines who you are to people. So I just want to ask us, like, let's talk about the concept of language and how it helped him navigate certain spaces. He called himself a chameleon. Okay, yes, thank you. Let me see. More quotes, then Olivia, then Blessing. We'll have 3 people take this question, and then we'll move on to the next. So, more quotes, you can go.
Thank you very much. I was itching to say this thing. Thank you for asking this specific question. So, my life is filled with happenings and relations. I think last week or 2 weeks ago, something happened. I was in a situation where there was this conversation with we're having a conversation, and then I'm just going to bring it back to our present day society before I relate it to the book. We're having a conversation in the room, and the conversation shifted towards language and ethnicity and all of that. And I shared my experience about something. And the person in the room with me now decided that she also shared her own experience that was similar. And then behind my back, I'm going to say behind my back, right, in quotes, she now says it in her dialect, in her own language, now starts talking about the specific ethnicity and attributing them, she started displacing them and making them small. She used the word weary for a whole ethnicity. And it was really crazy to me because she didn't say this in English. She didn't say this in a general language. She said it in a language that she felt I would not understand because I was there. Do you get? And when I read this part of the book, it made me realize that people actually like when the moment they feel like you're not part of them, not by like your body language or like your color or anything, but like by the inflections of your voice or anything, they start to treat you differently. And it can be seen as it can be a threat, because here's the thing, and another thing, like, sorry, I don't know how to like express these points very well. We see it when white people are in our midst and we start to like add accent changes. Like, sorry, apologies. Our accent changes. Okay, thanks, guys. Sorry.
Just you could complete your statement, please. Don't stop mid sentence.
Okay, sorry. Our accent changes in like a need to fit in, because we feel like we are lesser people than these people who are like before us, or some. I don't know if you guys get what I'm saying, but when he talked about like that particular like passage, was it just felt somehow that we, even us as individuals, think that because somebody does not share the same tonal dialect as we are, they are like lesser than we are. Like, I find it very weird that human beings can be wired in that way. Like, I don't know, Sha. Yeah, that's like my own 2 cents.
Thank you, Mokut. I understand what you're saying. Like, when you were even speaking, it kept occurring to me that place where he pointed out that even among, it was even language that they used to turn themselves against each other, the Haussas and the Zulus and the whatever. Even here in Nigeria, you can be an Igbo person, but because you know how to speak this thing, Hausa language, you would meet a Muslim and you will speak it for him. He knows that you're not Muslim, but you can understand his dialect. It gives you some kind of privilege of sorts when you're haggling for foodstuff and things like that. Also, turn us against. It happens to a lot of people where you're sitting in a particular group, and maybe I remember one time in secondary school where this particular boy just came into our school now, Omo Yoruba. He came inside the school and then he just started in Yoruba and insulting people everywhere. And I thought to myself, I was like, don't you ever in your life open your mouth and use such words on me because you think that we do not understand what you are saying. It's just very funny. But Olivia, please go.
All right, thank you. Like this whole language episode, like I have there are a lot of examples. There were a lot of examples going on in my head, you know, when he wrote about that at different parts of the book. And yes, it is something I actually relate to. So even here in Abuja, sometimes you go to buy stuff and a lot of people mistake me for Hausa people, and it's common among Igbos. Like when they see me, they think I'm Hausa, and given the fact that I also like to tie scarf. And then when I price something, they will tell me a very outrageous amount. And then I'll be like, now, madam, on you know, so and so amount. I'll just speak small Igbo. They'll be like, you're even Igbo self, you know, they will change. And before you know it, the price comes down. So actually, language is very, I don't know, it's just one thing that can make you, you know, can help you, and at the same time can cost you a lot if you don't find a way to navigate your way around. There was also a part in the book, I think in page 200 and something, where he talks about what Nelson Mandela said about speaking to a man in the language he understands, that it goes to his heart, something like that. So where he was in a situation with one of the prison guys. Sorry about that. Sorry for the time I'm taking. So yes, you actually realize that language is very important. And then even this Russian language I studied, there was this woman I met on Facebook. Sorry about that. I had a break in transmission. So she was always texting me. So, and that was just it, because I could speak her language. So I think language is really, really important. And, you know, it goes my... Hello, I'm done. Sorry, my network.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Blessing.
Hi, good evening, everybody. So, speaking about the language thing, there was this place, I can't really like say the way it was in the book. So, it was like racism teaches you that a person who does not look like you is not like among you. But when the person speaks like you, does that make the person someone like you? I'm just paraphrasing. And it made me like think. I'm not like, okay, normally it'd be like, oh, this person is white and I'm black, so this person, I and this person, we're not the same. But when that person speaks your language or as this particular Nigerian, okay, let me use the country as an example. So there's this TikTok video I was watching, and then she's a white woman, actually, like completely white, but she was speaking pidgin so well, and I'm like, oh my god. And there was this connection. I don't know, so there was this connection. I could it's as if I was looking beyond the color. Like, you get what I'm saying, Sha? So language, it plays a very big role. And then there was this story my dad told me one time like that I think something was going on in the East like that, and then people were coming in and they were stopping some people, but I think they stopped him and his friend at some point, and then he spoke their language, and then they, you guys, you are my brother, this and that, and they let them go. So I feel like language, it connects people beyond the color of a person, beyond the color of people. Like, even if this person is white, so they're able to speak your language, you kind of feel like connected to them somehow. Yeah, so that's all I want to say.
Thank you very much, Blessing. I think that this review would guilt-trip me to going to download my Duolingo, just in case I land in one of those countries that have been learning their languages on Duolingo. At least I will have an upper hand to it. So, on to the next center of attention. Okay, I think on page 116, I think before before chapter 11, there was this place where he talked about, the whole thing of him going to school late. Okay, no, that was not how he put it. But basically, it was the time where he had to push the mom's car because of fuel issues, and you know how the mom was so frugal that she hardly even spent money on a lot of things, and she knew the whole merry-go-round of roads and stuff like that. And so he talked about how that particular scenario on page 116 was the most embarrassing shit in his life. Pushing the car to school like the fucking Flintstones, because the other kids were coming in on the same road to school, and he took off like his jacket and stuff. So I want to ask, have you guys had any similar childhood incidents or something that happened that just made you feel this sense of shame, and you're like, oh my god, I don't want anybody to see me in this situation because I don't want to be judged? So that's my question. Yeah, Olivia, you can go, and then Okoli, just those two.
Okay, thank you. Personally, I have. When my dad was still there, he had like two cars. One was a Nissan, the other one was a Toyota. That Toyota, I've never seen anybody. All my life, I have never seen a car like that car. Everywhere I've gone, everywhere I've lived, that car is just so unique. And even in Osaka, where we live, my dad was quite popular. He was an English teacher, and he was quite popular among schools. So a lot of people knew him even for his lessons. He teaches in lesson centers, teaches in a lot of school. My dad was really versatile in teaching. So there was that red car. Anytime my classmates come and they're like, I saw your dad. they know it's my dad's car. So, and I hated that car so much. I hated being seen in that car. And the car was not fine. It looked ugly to me. That car was very, very nice. So it runs well. It helps him do all he needs to do and stuff. But I just did not dislike the car because it was not cool. But when you bought the Nissan Bluebird, like I was so happy. I liked it. He said it was my mom's car, although sometimes he drives it, but it was majorly my mom's. And whenever I was in it, I never felt ashamed or anything like that. But whenever I'm in that car or whenever he decides to ride his bike, because he also had a bike, I just don't know. I just feel like, I mean, in my head, I'm like, can't you just ride the better car or just drop this bike? Do you want people to see us as poor people? So yeah, when Trevor mentioned that part, I really remember it. And funny enough, sometimes that car can actually develop faults and my brothers will have to push it. So, oh, my dad just loved the car. It was just a funny red car. So yeah, that's just it.
That's very funny, I swear. I think mine was, so I think there was this particular period now, you know, Enugu and their water issues and everything. So sometimes there will be water issues, and when we stayed that time, the well had not yet been dug properly, so we'd have to go and get water from like a particular old woman's house down the street. And then, God of mercy, you would have to carry a whole neck carrying a bucket of water on her head and walking on the streets. God! Those were the most shameful times of my life. You will not imagine that one particular day I was carrying this bucket of water on my head, and this rubbish boy had the audacity, someone I don't know had the audacity to take a picture of me with his phone. That was the day to myself that, see, let this be the last time anybody will tell me to carry a bucket and enter the streets to go and fetch water, because I will not do that. I will not do it. But that was very funny. Please, Daniel, you can't go.
Good evening, everyone. Hope you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So, like you said, any event, yeah. I think this was then in secondary school. Yeah, this was in my SS3 year. Okay, being the health prefect, and you know, I was this kind of person that I was always like the trouser I got was torn. So I was sitting down in the class and kind of something like that. And I was, how do I put it now? Like my mom was talking to me, and because my mom then worked in the school, so my classmates now started like telling me that don't my mom have money to like give me to repair my trouser, and I felt so ashamed. Yeah, so that was it.
You don't beat those people. My God, you don't beat them. What? Oh my God, no. You will collect beating from me. Let my mother come and beat me for fighting in school and embarrassing her, but you will collect that beating. Can you imagine? God, I cannot stop laughing. Let me relax first. Oh my God, that was very, very funny. Thank you so much, guys, for sharing those experiences with us. So, I don't know. I feel like I want to throw this question to, you know, certain people. Oh my God, wait, how many are we on this call currently? Okay. I want to throw this question to certain people just to make sure that we are, you know, following. I'm going to read a particular part of this book that is very, very, I mean, there are lots of important things in this place, but this is just one of it. So on page 162, Trevor says, we see how he navigated the whole thing. I think there was this particular time where I bookmarked and added a comment that Trevor was able to find a positive in every situation. And so he discovered that he said, I had a natural talent for selling to people, but without knowledge and resources, where was that going to get me? People always lecture the poor. Take responsibility for yourself. Make something of yourself. But with what raw materials are the poor to make something of themselves? People love to say, give a man a fish and he will eat for a day. Teach a man to fish and he will eat for a lifetime. What they don't say is, and it would be nice if you gave him a fishing rod. That's the part of the analogy that's missing. And so he talks about how working with Andrew was the first time in his life he realized that you need someone from the privileged world to come to you and say, here, that's what you need, and this is how it works. Talent alone would have gotten me nowhere without Andrew, the privileged, giving him the CD writer. So I feel like this, I don't know if anybody has something to say about this particular place, because for me, I thought about it, I'm like, wow, like, is there anybody with a different view than I have of this? At first, I did not know if I was going to agree with this particular statement. But along the line in the book, when another thing happened and he brought it up and I thought about it again, I was like, okay, this is actually making sense. So does anybody have something to say? Okay, different view, no. But no, it doesn't have to be a different view, but something to say. Daniel and Olivia. Daniel, go first.
Sorry. It was a mistake. My hand was raised from the other time. Sorry.
Okay. Olivia, do you have anything to say?
Yes, I do. Thank you. So I actually also that place, funny enough. And yeah, I do agree with it a lot. Because let me not lie to you, you do need people. You need people who know things, who can show you the ropes. And for the longest time on the internet, this has always been argued. People will be like that there's no way you're going to hustle so hard and you're not going to make it. It reminds me of something a friend of mine says. He says the hardest working people on earth, some of them earn the least. He said in sites, he's an architect, right? So he said in sites where they work, the people who do the hardest jobs, who carry the bricks, who hit the nails, who bend the irons, who do everything, hard labor, they earn the least. But guess what? Guess who earns the most? The consultant architect. He just comes, they consult him, they ask him, what do you think we should do here? He'll be like, okay, put this like this, let's do this. And sometimes he's giving directives based on the drawings that has already been made, probably by this, my friend. So the boy he stays awake all night. That architect takes 10% of whatever amount that was allocated for that building. So, for example, if 100 million naira was allocated to build this thing, he's going to get 10 million for just being the consultant architect. Is that hard work? It's not. So, Trevor was very right when he said that, and I agree with it a lot. A lot of people will not agree. They would say that if you just keep working hard, you're going to make it. Yes, working hard is very good. Working smart is also important. And then having someone who to actually show you the ropes is way more important, because I'm telling you, if you don't have anybody, you're going to get so stuck and you're going to just keep trying and you'll get frustrated at the end. Somehow, I'm even speaking from experience. I know people that they don't know anything. I can say that, in my field of, expertise, I'm better than them. But because they had people to just show them one or two, you would think that these people know more than you, but they don't. So even your intelligence is not enough. You need people to show you these things. And I truly agree with that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ibube, your hand is raised, so you can speak.
Okay, thank you so much, Magdalene. Thank you, everyone. Good evening. So, here is my point. I think it's actually true what he said there. The fact that where he mentioned that you have to, apart from the part where you have to tell them to keep fishing or teach them how to fish, you also have to give them the fishing rod. That is actually a very important part. There are actually many people out there that are very talented. That's the obvious truth. But then not all of them are visible. Not all of them are making waves with their talent. There are people who can think and different things. There are people who are like, they have their hidden somewhere, some location in some hidden part of the world, but do something meaningful with that thing. But they don't know how to monetize it and make it visible for others to see. You get what I'm saying? So there are many of them out there. While Olivia was talking, she mentioned us about, I think there was something about, she knows many people as well who she thinks, or she believes she's more capable of doing certain things than in her field of expertise. But then because they know one person or another, they kind of surpass her or kind of are doing bigger things. So that brings me to what happened this evening in the group when Brother Barnabas was telling me that, okay, this boy, that one, must I teach you everything? So So in a way, this guy needs someone to guide him as well to do certain kind of things. Even though he had his words in his mouth, or he thinks he can find his way around, but he needs someone to guide him. So I think it's very true, literally, very, very true.
Thank you very much, Johnson. Gosh, I was about to say something. Yes, when he said talent is not enough, I think the first thing that came to while you were talking, what came to my mind was some of us do not even know that we have the ability or we can fish. Like, let's say fishing was a talent or it's something that you can do. Because I think about the fact that he knew he could run. He knew he was a good racer, a good runner, whatever word it is. And him in that situation, being able to pick out that, oh, I could do this. I can run. I could move from here to here in this short period. And today, I don't know, but it was fascinating to know that at that particular age, someone could spot opportunities like that. I actually think it's a talent, and not everybody has the capacity to do that, honestly. Blessing, you can talk.
I don't really have much to say. I just wanted to add to what Eve said. Like you, this adage says, okay, that instead of you showing a person, giving a person a fish, you show the person where to fish. And then Trevor asks, what about the fishing rod? What is the person going to use to fish? It's just like when you have like a pack of maybe treasures in a room, and then you meet this person coming from outside, and you're like, oh, that's the door, that's the room, and then you have the key with you. How would the person access the room if they don't have the key? It's just like you showing them, oh, this is where it is, but they can't access it, they can't touch it. So there are some things that we need people, we need resources, we need connections to like actually break through those things. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to add. Thank you.
Okay, Nabas, thank you so much for speaking. Kindly take the stage.
I totally agree with Trevor. The issue of resources. I think he meant resources in that context, but I understand the point of view. And I think this goes far to say that having an idea is not enough. You get. I think that's where we are, as so many of us here in Nigeria. We have so many brilliant ideas, a lot of creative stuff we want to do. But a lot of times we don't even have the resources, the equipment to do these things. You get, and I don't think that say hard work. That's not enough. I don't know how to say that's not enough. You get, someone has to show you the rope, or I don't know how best to communicate this, but this concept of one boy, I think you've seen it already. It's common here in the East, where someone will serve under another man for a couple of years, and the man doesn't just train; he stays there, learns the trade, and after that, the man gives him a sum of money to go start his own. I think that's the best concept of showing someone how to fish and providing a hook, a fishing hook for the person, fishing line, a fishing rod for the person. And I feel we just have to come to that point where we realize that hard work alone is not enough. Do you understand? And I'm speaking from the standpoint of the fact that sometimes your parents put this pressure on you, like, okay, go out there, just work hard, things will be better. And then sometimes they don't provide the resources. Maybe they do, they feel maybe education is the resource, but that's the thing again, the resource you're getting, is it the right resource for what you want to do? Do you understand? Every Nigerian parent thinks that education is the right resource. Then after they put you through a 4-year system and you come out, that wasn't the resource you need at the time to start what you wanted. You notice that the guy that saw Trevor for his skill knew exactly what he needed, what was right for the time. So I feel it's not just about having it's about having resource, and not just that, but knowing what kind of resource at the time.
Thank you so much, Nabas. Thank you so much. I hate the way my brain moves sometimes. I had something to say, and now it's not in my head anymore. But yes, okay, let's move on to another important character in the life of Trevor. Patricia. God, I don't know what particular page this was, but the entrance to the chapter where Trevor talked about how his mom always spoke to him about relationships like he was an adult. It was a very, very funny entrance, basically telling him things straight, and it was never at once. It was just bit by bit. I don't know, that particular place just made me tell myself that I don't know, but I love this woman, and I love how she trained him and everything. There are so many things in this book that we can't talk about today, but on page 82, there's this particular incident that happened to him, and he said, and I quote, "But I was blessed with another trait I inherited from my mother, her ability to forget the pain in life. I remember the thing that caused the trauma, but I don't hold on to the trauma. I never let the memory of something painful prevent me from trying something new." I wish I could read on, but that was a very, very, I don't know, it was a very, very emotion and thought evoking sentence for me. So I want to ask, what do we think about Patricia and how she trained Noah through the apartheid? I just want us to talk about her character. Anything you have to say, because for me, she was a true mother figure, and I don't know what her thought process was like when she, because he didn't really talk much about why she also didn't want to get married. I mean, he mentioned it, but I wish I could pick her brain and ask her more questions as to why she said she did not want to get married to anybody and then ended up marrying a very stupid man. But it's fine. But let's please talk about Patricia as a character and how she trained Trevor. And also, this particular sentence that I read out, how do you think holding on to trauma affects people in their day-to-day activities? Thank you very much. So he's going first. Blessing, you raised your hand.
Yes, I did. Okay, so first of all, Patricia, oh my God, she's my favorite after Trevor. Like, oh my God, that woman is a fighter. Like, from all the things she endured as a child, as a teenager, like, oh my God, she's this kind of person. Like, looking at what she went through as a child, as a teenager, you would have thought that, okay, she was just going to resign to fate and just, whatever life brings, I'll just take it like that. She wasn't that kind of person. I don't even know what words to use. I just love her. And then coming to the aspect of how she trained her child, she trained Trevor to be like exactly like her. It's just like, when you say you can't give what you don't have, she had that spirit of tenacity of no, you can't cage me, you can't limit me to this. I'm not what you tell me that I am what I make myself to be, that kind of vibe. And she inculcated that thing. I don't know if it was genetic for Trevor, because it was innate in Trevor. It was, and the way she brought him up, he saw the word, even though they were not rich, he saw the word. He knew a lot of things. He could think for himself. There was a part in the book where Trevor mentioned that his mother taught him to think. They would discuss. She would teach him. She would talk to him like an adult. I mean, I was so proud of her in that book before Abel came in. But still, that woman, she's a fighter. She's a mother. I don't know. I love her so much. I love her. I really like her.
Thank you very much, Blessing. Olivia, please, while you're answering, can you touch on the whole trauma aspect? Like how you feel that people holding on to trauma holds them back from advancing, that kind of thing. I can't remember how I structured the question, but you get. Hi, Olivia.
Hi, sorry. I was just trying to turn on my mic. Okay, thank you. So, let me start with let me just say something about Patricia. She was really, I mean, it was just so funny to think that I was telling myself, should I just name my child Patricia? Because I was not beginning to see a superhero kind of, character in someone who's going to be called Patricia. So, and then also, the way she speaks to Trevor, like there's just something about teaching a child up front. When you don't try to hide something from a child, the truth is when you talk to a child like an adult, the child is not going to understand why you're speaking to him or her that way. They won't even understand what you're saying. But the truth is, as they grow, somehow those words begin to make sense to them and they just find themselves living that life. Because even though Trevor was naughty and everything, he was a very, very stubborn child. He was not someone who would get into unnecessary trouble. He was not someone who was going to put his family and people in danger. Like he was troublesome in a way, but you get the point. He was still in a way guided because of the way his mom trained him. And then when it comes to trauma is very strong. And honestly, I've seen people hold on to the past so much, and till today, it's very hard for them to forgive and move on. And when, at some point in your life, I've come to realize that things are just going to hurt you so much. You're going to be so upset. You're going to even hate the people who caused you pain or whatever. But it takes a personal effort to say, I just want to drop this thing. I had the same experience and I did it, and I prayed to God to help me, and it worked for me. And I also know someone, or I would say people who till today, they are still reminiscing on things that were done to them in the long past. These things have passed. And just like Trevor mentioned somewhere in the book, he said that in America and in Britain, they teach apartheid in a way. They teach Germans and British about racism. The British teach their children about it, and when they are done, their children will begin to reflect and be ashamed of what their forefathers did. But he said it was not the same in South Africa. They just tell you, oh yeah, it has happened. Same thing in America. Oh yeah, it has happened. It's now in the past. Just move on. Yeah, sometimes it hurts for someone to just tell you to leave the past and move on. But the truth is, the more you hold on to the past, I think you also hold yourself down. And that was one thing that helped Trevor, because that part of the book, he was trying to talk about how his mom beats him so much, but he just never takes it to heart. He understands that it was all out of love. And, putting it into his heart is just going to keep him back. So I think trauma is something that at some point in your life, you just have to let go of it. Because if you don't let go of it, you're just going to find out that it's going to show up in every aspect of your life. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So this is, oh my God. Thank you very much, Olivia. This is like our penultimate question to the final question. So, let's leave I don't know if this is even serious. On page 127, right, when this particular crush of Trevor, Zahira, leaves the school and, he has no information as to what happened. The fact when she just said, hey, Zahira, I like you. Will you be my girlfriend? 10 words that might have changed my life if I had the courage to say them, but I hadn't, and now she's gone. And the comment I left on this particular place was, this is exactly what he meant by regret is worse than failure or rejection. So I don't know if anybody has had like a similar experience as to where they're like, oh, I wish I had tried this thing and known that it didn't work, then regret not doing it at all. I don't know if anybody has an experience to share with us so that we can learn from it. Wow. Olivia, really giving it to me this night. I'm going to throw the last question to somebody. Olivia, you can't speak.
Okay, thank you. I'm trying to remember a particular experience I can share, but currently I don't know if any comes to mind. But then I'm going to say that particular statement is so true. Let me even say maybe the most recent. Okay, so when I was about to leave NYSC, or when I was going for NYSC rather, I knew I wanted to come to Abuja, right? And I knew the plans I had. I knew I wanted to work with language schools, blah, blah, blah. So many, big plans and everything. But guess what? Fear got me. How? When you tell people, oh, I studied foreign languages. Oh, really? Which one? Russian. And they're like, Russian. You didn't see German. You didn't see French. Do you know there are many opportunities in Germany? There are many opportunities in France. And they don't spare you. They always make sure, people always made sure they told me that I studied something they consider a trash course. I don't know if you get. So that thing made me go into my shell. Like, I just told myself that no need, no school was going to hire me, no school was going to accept for me to teach Russian. And given the fact that even when I tried to work my service to the embassy, it didn't really work because according to them, the person who was supposed to process the whole thing was not on seat. So those disappointments just made me drop those plans. And these were plans I had plans to apply for work, to start in September. I'm supposed to finish service by June, July, and then rest a little bit in August, probably travel home, start work again in September, and I'm supposed to start applying from April. I had these plans. But all this talking down stopped me from doing it. And guess what? I did not apply. I did not get the jobs. And when someone finally came around and was telling me, I know a school that actually needs a Russian teacher. It's an American school. Guess what? It was already late. It was already late to apply. It was already in September. And I couldn't apply because the school had started. If I had done it when I wanted to do it or when I had plans to do it, it would have worked. They would have probably reviewed it, discussed it with the parents, and started it. So the man was telling me that they even had to go look for a white man in Ghana, and it didn't work out. The man eventually went back to Ghana because he was a Russian staying in Ghana. So, and they really needed a Russian teacher that year. I lost that opportunity. So, I was regretting it. So when he said that thing, that rejection, failure is an answer, but regret, you will never know. Because till today, I'm asking myself, what if I sent that email? What if I sent those emails? I made those applications. What would have happened? So yeah, it's a very real thing.
Thank you so much, Olivia. Blessing and Daniel. Oh, I was about to give this spot to Moko. Moko, do you still want to speak? Because I don't think you've spoken so much today.
Okay. Yeah. So, I don't know, like, what Olivia said, along the lines of what Olivia said. I remember when I first, when, this is, back to secondary school and stuff, when everybody was, filling out their JAM forms and stuff, and I filled out for agriculture, and then our JAM results came in, and I did quite well, and everything, and then we applied to different schools. We got admission letters, and I would never forget how people kept on telling me things like, you're wasting your job score, and you're wasting your time, you just want to go and be an educated farmer. I don't know how to explain it, but those were hurtful words. There was encouragement from anybody, even my friend, and it made me feel like my teachers were like, you could have studied pharmacy, you could have, and just have a farm on the side. And it just and I'm telling you, I'm very sorry. I'm not very sorry, but it low-key shaped how I got into school. There was and I didn't really do well in my 100 level because of that, because I don't know how to explain it. Just low-key follows you, where people have talked that even my mom was like, you should have just there's no pharmacy. There's no pharmacy. What are you going to do with the agric degree? And it was so stupid to me. And that is why it got to a point where I had to sit down and ask myself who I was doing it for. Was I doing it for myself, or was I doing it for the approval of other people generally? And I don't know. The moment you change your mindset towards certain things, then you're able to flow better or grow yourself better, I guess. And that's what happened to me. So yeah.
Thank you very much, Moko. Blessing and Daniel. I'm sorry, but I don't think that because of time we would not be taking the spot again for a particular question. So, to come to the end of this review, right? Is Miss Summer still on this call? Hi, Miss Summer. Hello.
Hi. Good evening.
Hi. Good evening. So I have a question for you. Are you done with Read the book.
Yes.
Okay. So I just want to ask you, what is the most valuable lesson that you picked from this book?
Actually, there are a lot of lessons from the book, but the most valuable. Well, I want to have a relationship like Patricia had with her son, and like the love was felt even in the midst of their hustling together, maybe going to church, jumping from minibuses to get away from robbers. The fact that even when he left home, he still communicated with the house. He dropped everything to make sure that his mom was very fine when the stupid um human being that she called a husband tried to kill her. And then you also see her relationship with God, because how would you tell me that someone stood over you and shot a gun like 4 times and none of it hits you? See that actually God was there with her. So you repair your relationship with God, you develop a bond. At the end of the day, it's just good relationships actually turn out to be the best at the end of the day.
Thank you very much. Nabas, your hand is up. I think that will be the last for tonight. You can go.
Okay, particularly, I like to commend the way Patricia raised Trevor. Trevor grew up like in the slums, you get, but he doesn't think that way. In fact, I wasn't surprised to hear one time that he didn't even complete university. He dropped out at some point, but he's actually one of the most intelligent people I know, you get. And I think there's this part that even struck me where he mentioned that his mom will often take him to the rich part of the city, and then he asked his mom, "Why do you keep bringing me here, even when we can't afford it?" And the mom will say, "I'm showing you these places so you know that life does not end in the ghetto. And even if you don't eventually go out, you know that the ghetto was not all of it." And that part touched me a lot. You get, she knew probably at the time she could not afford to take him out there, but wanted him to see that there was more to life than that place. And that particular thing struck me. I think that line has made me read that book several times, because I want to read to that point where the weight of that quote hits me so much, where she said, "Even if you don't make it out of the ghetto, I want you to know that the ghetto was not all there is to life." And I think I commend that a lot. She might not have been so educated, but the way she raised Trevor, it's like she had prayed for Trevor all her life. And the decision she made, you realize that she really wanted a son that she had been planning for that time. The way she walked up to Trevor's dad and said, "I want to have a child," stuff like that, as if she just knew what she wanted in life. And she wanted a son, she wanted to raise the son, and it all played out in the end. I think I commend that a lot. So that's all I have to say.
To understand that this life that we live is not all there is. The world that we hear about is not all there is, because a lot of times I sit down and I just look at how much protection I have around me. There are so many things that happen, and I'm like, oh, I've heard that this happens. I've never had an experience of it. Oh, I know that this is this, and I've never had an experience of it. And someone was about to point out that, okay, now there's TikTok and there's social media. And I'm like, so no. I don't think you can even compare what the kind of knowledge that reading a book, an experience gives you, that TikTok or Instagram or something will give. Because for me, I feel like TikTok and IG is just like literal brain rods. I don't know. A lot of times people configure their feeds in very toxic ways. Like most times when people are like, Twitter is so toxic. I still don't understand what they are saying, because when I open my Twitter, I'm seeing a lot of things that are very, very educational, very helpful. People sharing experiences on things that actually matter. Do you get? And I'm just like, okay, That's crazy, but that was very, very wonderful. And that thing that struck me was when he talked about the food being strangely comforting, but comfort can be dangerous. I think that's also something that I relate so much to. Just the idea of comfort being dangerous. It's like you relax. I was so surprised that there was a possibility that guy, I think his name was Gene, quitting his job at that particular place or something, or making up that story about him stealing something and then firing him because the hood had been taunting him about what he was doing. And I think another thing that makes comfort dangerous is that it does not allow you dream, which was also something that Patricia was able to put in Trevor. It was the ability to dream. And I can't remember where I heard this, but it's also that thing where it's like the capacity of your dreams depends on how much exposure that you've had. Oh, well, I don't know, but this book was wonderful. It was a lot. Like on Sunday, whoever is reviewing should please look for more things that we were not able to touch today and talk about it. I just want to say thank you so much to everybody that spoke during this review. For those that listened, I hope that you guys picked one or two things beyond what you even noticed while reading the book. It was a lovely review, and I'm happy that I was the host. Do have a wonderful night and see you in the group chat. Bye.
Don't forget to hit the follow button and tap on the notification icon to stay updated. That's all for today's episode. To join our book club or stay updated on future discussions, follow us on Instagram and X at Jollof Book Club, Jollof with a double F. And thank you so much for listening.